Krampen. The word Krampus comes from the Old High German word Krampen, which means claw. Krampus is a horned, hairy figure, half goat, half demon monster, a rude or badly behaved person, typically a child, or a daunting, a congenitally malformed or mutant animal monster. From the Latin monere, meaning warn. Ward and warn share a deep etymological connection. Ward, derived from Old English weird, guard, watching. From Old English warnian, to take heed, warn. This is simply the fundamental definition of the words in the dictionary, terms we accept. It is not a global conspiracy. We are told this in allegory, meaning metaphor, myth or story, a territorial division, or a child or young person, under the care and control of a guardian, as in ward of state, a child or young person, a kid. Also in allegory, a young goat, or the English acronym greatest of all time. It's all about the words terms offered by Masonic clerks, to give a descriptive name to call by, terms that if accepted as defining us, in allegory bind us in a rolling contract, leaving us legally bound through loyalty to these terms. Krampus is pagan. Krampus is Santa's demonic companion. In Welsh, St. Nicholas, Father Christmas, is known as Sean Cor, John Horn. Horn, Kernos, is a symbol of the male natural principles of dominance, and an angle, a wedge, to divide. At Christmas, we hold worthy the Saints' Clause, the points raised in the mandate of the Bible offering sharing, love, and moderation, and we dismiss them in Mass. The word Mass has many meanings in allegory, but here are publicly working for the gods' lords that labour to make us their ward as we put away the body flesh of Jesus Christ. In principle, rejecting his principles, masquerading as Christians, and submit to pagan principles of dominance, rejecting the offer to be part of the body of Jesus, a Christ Mass, a carnival of the masses putting away flesh, a masquerade, rejecting the body of Christ as a principle of unity, and celebrating, performing a religious ceremony of the Mithras, worshipping dominance and the seed of the dominant conifer. If this feels hard to follow, bear with me. The next few slides will show the overall principle that we worship the principles of dominance in nature, the horn. Krampen, we become the Krampus, tricked into doing this through allegory and accepting terms that make us villains, handing over our land and our children to dominant lords, masters of language, the Magus. And we the cattle of the sons of Ra, pecuniary chattel, to be dominated. Krampen, keratin claw, or the horn of predators. Here we have two pagans raising up the horn in worship. In ancient Roman belief, these household gods hold worthy the penates. Lares and penates, a person's home and household possessions, from the Latin penus, and pens, the plural noun pens, as in tail or penis. The male symbol of dominance in vulgar slang for horn. Through dominance in language and the terms that we accept, we all must turn and bow, bend our heads, pay the fee, or become villains. Whether it is through choice or force, we are all considered property of the crown. As we have all accepted terms that make us pecuniary chattels, pagan, heathen, civilian slaves, to those who can dominate through language and bend the word. The word crown links to horn through diadem. All kings have turned and bowed to the principles of dominance, bound by their words as they have taken an oath, rejecting the principles of Jesus and accepting the principles of dominance, in a feudal type system where we are depicted as villains or serfs, as we hand over our property and our children, traitors to the principles of Jesus, handing over our children and land to pagans, villains, pagan, from the Latin paganus civilian. The point fundamentally in principle, prick, a person who betrays the principles of Moses and Jesus. And what traits, characteristics, do villains have? This drawing shows our nature as draft animals, in English, peculiar, pecuniary, chattels owned by lords, horny animals with a vulgar tongue, considered as tasteless, gross, rude, indecent, but mainly illiterate, common people. By Masonic clerks. This isn't necessarily my opinion, it's the definition of the terms, words in the dictionary that if accepted make us contract, contrary to Matthew 5:34, rejecting the terms in the mandate of the Bible, accepting the terms that predicate us as natural man, naive, native, slave to the principles of dominance. Wrapped by the clause, Krampen, Krampus, our natural language, our vernacular, is that of a homeborn slave, a domestic native. How we speak is not just how we say something in order to convey information or utter a word, it is also of behaviour or an object, etc. That serves as evidence for something. Our behaviour conveys the transfer of property, our God-given right to freedom on earth, reject it, transferred to dominant lords, by the way we behave and the terms, words we accept. This is a cross to bear, a tradition, not explicit in the Bible, not in the Torah, and not recorded in the Quran, a pagan tradition. We have been convicted as pagan, and we trust their judgment. As a nation, that predicate us as pagan. Many of us presume the word moral to only have one loving meaning, but moral is concerned with principles, the code of behaviour acceptable in a particular society. Moral obligations, these men of principle, dominant lords, are only doing their job, offering you terms to determine your fundamental nature, to see what terms you will accept, to see if you are loyal to the principles of Moses and Jesus' word, or if you are loyal to pagan traditions of dominance. The word point has many meanings in allegory, from the points in masonry, the points in text or contract, or simply a sharp tapered point, as in the extremities of an animal, the point. The clause that these men are loyal to is contract, the saints' clause, as they have taken an oath. Will you stick to your word? Will you be loyal to Jesus and the principles of love? Or will you become the Krampus, legally accepting the terms of dominant pagans, and be loyal to dominance, deliver and betray, be a traitor to a friend or family, betray the principles of Jesus, Moses, and love, hand over the children, hand over the land to the Krampus.